That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
This segment sponsored by our radio listening post in Yucaipa. Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, where you can get healthy in the heart of Yucaipa. You'll find locally sourced fresh fruit, vegetables, farm eggs, honey, fresh bread, nuts, and for your sweet tooth, delicious ice cream and locally produced candy from licorice to chocolates. All to your heart's content. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, just down the street from Toscano's Pizza, between 13th and 14th on Yucaipa Boulevard. Open every day, weekdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on weekends to 5 p.m. For more info, you can call 909-790-6106. That's 909-790-6106. Shop local with Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce. Tell them you heard it on this radio station and saw it on the DNA advertising screen inside the store. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce. And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
E-Digits. Lock them in for more information, recreation, and guaranteed fun. KCAA, 1050 AM.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. President Trump says he talked with Russian President Vladimir Putin and they plan to immediately start negotiations related to ending the Russia-Ukraine war. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the call was highly productive. Trump also spoke to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, informing him that he spoke with Putin. Over 100 million people are in the path of intense winter weather from Colorado to Maine. The National Weather Service said storm systems are causing bitter cold temperatures, leading to treacherous travel conditions. The icy conditions and snowfall are expected to impact these same regions over the next 2 days, and another storm is expected to move in by the weekend. There are reports the Trump administration is releasing a convicted Russian money launderer in exchange for American Mark Fogel. A U.S. official tells NBC News Alexander Vinnik is awaiting transport to Russia. The official says as part of the deal, Vinnik will leave behind $100 million worth of digital assets. Vinnik pleaded guilty in May to money laundering charges related to a cryptocurrency exchange. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth! Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month for news, weather, and emergency information. A new bill in Congress would make sure AM radio remains in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
In these times, sometimes you have to take away the stress or dress to impress. Lux Transportation has just the ticket for you and your needs to relax, kick your feet up in style, and make some new fun memories. Looking for a hassle-free, comfortable ride? Experience the ultimate in luxury. Transportation in a sleek, luxurious black-on-black SUV. Private, discreet rides, airport runs, sightseeing, proms, weddings, and romantic date nights are all ahead in your future with Lux Transportation. Karaoke, disability-friendly, and no problem, we're also senior citizen-friendly too. Call or text Mr. Hollins to take away the stress at 951-399-5425. That's 951-399-5425. Lux Transportation, when you need the absolute best.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary-Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Hey, Mr. Worldwide, Miami, T-Pain, Tally, Sean Paul, Jamaica, Ludacris, ATL. Now let's show the whole world how we get down. Remix, die.
All right. Randy Corrigan of the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. I'm curious to know how much Lori likes that song. I like that. It's got a nice little, it's upbeat.
It's cloudy outside. I want to get it going, man.
All right. Everybody's a little low, a little slow. And I was super tired last week, I can tell you. I'll talk about it here in a few minutes. Those Slow Bloom people really fired me up last week, got me moving. Anyway, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, live from San Bernardino. This is Randy Corrigan, the Worker Power Hour. I am a long-time organizer, first-time radio host. I keep being told that I can't keep saying that, but I'm going to say that until enough people come on this show and basically shut me down from claiming my rookie status. Short of that, last week we had a really, really good show. It was... First of all, talking about the Slow Bloom group was amazing. Slow Bloom Coffee in Redlands and what they did. And then first, our preschool services department members coming on and really describing how much they like their job, how much they appreciate the different things they do in the job. And then I think it gave us all an appreciation for how hard it is to be a Head Start teacher or a preschool teacher, and all the different things they do. And they clearly have got to love the kids and love what they're doing in that space for them to, keep doing it. And to also, it came out on the show, we really heard their excitement and how much they enjoyed the kids. It seemed like in some cases they may enjoy the kids at school more than their own kids. No shot, but I think maybe we're all that way from time to time dealing with our own children. Anyway, point is that they serve an extremely important role in our community, and especially for those families that they serve and that they help every single day. So thank you so much for coming on and talking about those jobs, all the different roles and responsibilities when it comes to preschool services within San Bernardino County and all the things you do for those kids. And the stories are really funny. The one story that stuck to me was about the kids that, you'll have a kid that really kind of takes a leadership role of the other kids, and they act like the mom or the dad, and they really help out. So I thought that was really, really cool to hear. It's just kind of natural what happens in with a bunch of kids is the ones that would naturally want to be helpful with one another came out. And so it was really fun to hear those stories. And obviously we'll bring them back on too to talk about some of the challenges they're running into, making sure that the issues that they're facing within their organization are raised to the top, and everybody can help participate in helping resolve those issues. The other is we gave a tribute to the Black History Month and how the struggle for black workers still continues to this day. We understand that there are some organizations, or there is some elected officials that are essentially trying to say not to recognize Black History Month. I'm sorry, but we're not going to listen to that. It is Black History Month, and I think it's important for us to recognize how difficult this country made it on that culture of people for a few hundred years. And we can have a month where we dedicate to how people got through that, and whether it's women's rights or civil rights or equal rights in any way, shape, or form, there's nothing wrong with going back and making those points and recognizing how difficult it is to create equality. Human beings are not kind to one another. Typically, over the thousands of years that we can look at history, we can recognize the fact that we've kind of stomped on one another, and issues like Black History Month, in my mind, in our opinion, in this show, we think that that's a good place to celebrate those who manage the struggle, who manage the challenges, and who were able to kind of push through, decades, centuries of very tough circumstances and situations. So it was a good discussion in that, and we also obviously mentioned some black leaders from the past and how important they were to the union movement and to workers in general. We also welcomed Slow Bloom Teamsters to the studio to discuss the history of their amazing coffee and their journey to become a union coffee house, and what they faced working for the previous owner. Obviously, that company didn't like the fact that they organized. The owner essentially shut down the shop, and they turned around and opened up a shop themselves, opened up a co-op, and basically controlled their destiny. Wasn't easy, but incredible story to see now that they embrace having a union and making sure that those that own the organization are participating in the future of those employees that are connected to it, because the employees are the face of that customer relationship. That's where people, that's the reason they come back, why they purchase. Many times the relationship that they have will supersede many other challenges. And so was really excited to have them on, because it's a testament to the will of what people can do and thinking outside the box, and absolutely making sure that regardless of what somebody throws at you, you can respond to it in a good way. And so as a reminder to download the KCAA app in the Apple Store or Google Play Store, so that you can get you can listen to this live just by touching the app. You'll actually hear us live and not have to worry about the AM and FM bands and how this goes in and out. Sometimes when you're driving around, depending on how far you live or where you're driving to. So next part of the show is live shout-outs. Now, before I get into this very long list of those of you that are listening live and you want us to mention you, France, Mark, we have 335 or 350 people that are listening from France, and I know we've got people little pockets of a handful here, a handful there, all over the country. But France, That's kind of cool. I'm not sure what's going on there. We saw that it was it was only like 30 or something a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it's popped up.
It's like 330.
Yeah, so there's this little, so live shout outs to you from France, whoever you're listening. We're seeing you. We're seeing you in the data. So that's kind of cool. Obviously not a market that we're trying to get into, but it's, just kind of makes you go, man, what's going on? The only thing I can think of, and I don't know if some of you wants to email us or let us know why you're listening from France. I'm assuming it's the connection that we're making on some of the work we're doing globally on the Amazon space. And there's a lot of unions globally in that area that are connecting to what we're doing. Maybe that's the connection. Maybe it's not. It'd be nice if we heard from somebody on why. I mean, I don't speak French, so you're going to have to help me here and make sure that if you email us in English.
Maybe it's just you're so damn sexy. France loves you, Randy.
Yeah, I seriously doubt that. That's not the case.
You got to brush up on your French, and the next show you got to
the only French I know is oui. So, and hopefully I don't have to dump that on the live. Remember, we're live radio, so you have to be careful what we say. Anyway, kind of cool little statistic about France. It kind of sticks out and it's fun. I know we internally here like to laugh and joke about little pockets like that sometimes don't make sense to us, but we definitely enjoy it. And so moving on with the live shout outs, we got City of San Bernardino workers listening in live, which are and then we have Richard and Alex from the City of Montclair. We also have Water and Streets crew from Pomona. We have members at the San Bernardino Crime Lab, Kim Shapiro. She'll be on later. She's listening in live, and we actually should be in studio here, I think, at 3:30. We also have Sandy Cabrera, ARMC Medical Imaging, Jeremy Lopez, Charles Brown, ARMC Security, Takib Courier, ARMC Info Management, Vanessa Barber, ARMC Rehab, Doris Villegas, ARMC ER, Makisha Waller, ARMC Epic. We also have Danielle Miles, OA2 at BH, Olivia Cabrera, OA1 at MICU, Krista Hunter from Food Services, ARMC, Superintendent at Schools. Apparently, we're starting to get a lot more people at the schools listening in. Really appreciate that, John Gamboa. Hey, good to hear from you, John. Glad to see that you're listening in. Stephanie Hancock, Bernadette Guerrero, Angel Jones, Natalie Gamble, Mike Flores, PSD members Steve Thompson, Gary Suckram. Good to hear from you, Gary. Hopefully we'll get you on the show here pretty soon, too. Deputy of Child Support, Victorville, listening in live. This list goes on. I got Jenny Hernandez listening in from Public Health, Mierda Cordova from TAD, Holly Edison, retiree, Linda Haro, Sheila Muir. We have City of Chino, Jorge, Jesse, Robert, and Sophia. District Attorney's Office, we got Lori, as always. She is grading our music on a regular basis. Dinah Macias, I see that you're getting others to listen in there, Lori, so can't wait. I think last time she texted when I called her out on the radio live, she texted Mark to see what to give us a rating on our actual music quality.
On-air music critic.
Yeah, I'm
live
good with that. Yeah.
From San Bernardino.
Live from San Bernardino. We got a live music critic for Lori Ryan. Anyway, Bernie Delatorre from Colton. Warren Pennington from DWA, which is Desert Water Agency. Redland Stewards playing the show during their stewards meeting. So you guys actually have a stewards meeting right now, and you are playing this show. So shout out to you. Make sure that you have a good meeting there. City of Needles General Unit playing the show during their meeting as well. We also have the Sheriff's Crime Lab listening in. We have the ITD stewards. Karen, hey, Karen, good to hear that you're listening in live, as well as Karen Tinsley and Nathan Gutierrez. And then we have Coachella Valley Water District. I think that's supposed to be Chino Valley Fire District. City of Fontana stewards Valerie and Terry Kim. City of Rialto, Thad and Freddie. Message from Leigh Glasgow at Tad01. You're listening in live, and she says, or he, I'm sorry, messed this up. Randy, you rock. Appreciate what you have done for Teamsters Local 1932. Thank you for that shout out, and thank you for that individual one. Really, really appreciate that. And so the next part of our show is Labor Heroes and Labor Events. I got a Teamster Advantage partner sitting to my right, your left on the screen. I'm running a little late here, so I'll get to you in a few minutes after I talk about these. And Harry Bridges is the first one. Harry Bridges, founder of the ILWU, which is International Longshoremen Warehouse Union, is a legend in the labor movement as he led the general strike along the West Coast in 1934. 1934 was a year that there was a lot of strikes happening throughout the country. Workers were really being suppressed. There was no rights when it came to worker rights at all in any legislative body, and workers realized the only thing they could do was organize a union, and essentially the only passageway was to shut down those operations until those companies recognized they had to do something decent. And think about it, in 1934, you had a lot of death on the job, a lot of dangerous situations. There was no safety for the most part, and so it was a bloody strike with several casualties known as Bloody Thursday. Understand the Teamsters supported that strike. Much of the leverage of that strike was supported by our driving and obviously the handling of transportation in the industry. And so on July 5th, 1934, Harry Bridges led a 4-day general strike in San Francisco. The police aided the Employer Association by conducting a raid on a union hall. Yes, they actually did. And you know, we are no stranger to a lot of times police officers buddying up with a corporation or a business, which is kind of stupid because corporations and businesses never supported police officers' ability to bargain. And the only reason why police officers have good wages and working conditions and benefits today and can retire at a decent age is because of unions' collective bargaining, even though they were hired guns for a lot of these companies, like in this example, that literally broke in, did a raid on a union hall and killed multiple people inside of that building in 1934. This is all true. This is fact. This isn't me making anything up. These are the things that we've had to deal with in the labor movement over 150 years. And so the strike was eventually settled with the ILWU being recognized, and they later became very powerful. Many would have called them the kings of the wharf, very much controlling that industry. Ultimately, workers won by shutting down the operation until there was a resolve, until there was a compromise. We held the work hostage because apparently companies get to a certain degree that they think that they can hold the workers hostage, and we're not going to allow that to happen in this space. And so the next item is, the next person that I'm recognizing is Bernard Rustin. Served the trade union and civil rights movement as a brilliant theorist, tactician, and organizer. He brought organized labor and the civil rights movement together to create a stronger presence for both groups. He assisted MLK in the organizing of bus boycotts. He also was one of the leaders, along with Philip A. Randolph, that organized the March on Washington, which was originally called the March for Jobs and Freedom. Most people don't know that. It was actually a March for Jobs and Freedom, and that march was held on the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, where Dr. King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. That march helped secure the Civil Rights Act in 1963 and the Voting Act of 1964. And so the last point I will make is the War on Workers. I actually attended this rally back in March, on March 26th of 2011. Thousands attended the LA Labor Rally, as I stated the date, which is called the War on Workers, and it was set because there was an alarming trend that the unions had recently seen, where this attack on labor unions was happening over and over throughout the country. And with what happened in Wisconsin and that labor battle and workers' rights being stripped away in Wisconsin, we had thousands of workers convene on downtown Los Angeles, and the police estimated there was between 5,000 and 8,000 that attended the protest, which ended in a packed rally at Pershing Square. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine performed, and the event came in response to the Wisconsin legislature's approval of a bill that curtailed collective bargaining rights for many unions. And this was there was a piece from the LA Times column on that march. So if you get a chance, look it up. Just Google it, and you'll see the massive movement. It was actually cool to be part of organizing that, being part of building that out, as well as participating in that on the ground. And so with that, I want to move into our Teamster Advantage guest. We have Alex Carrasco on here. I pronounced that correctly, right?
Yeah.
Alex Carrasco. And our Teamster Advantage program, for those of you who don't know, I don't know how you don't know if you listen in, but we have more than 1,000 small businesses connected to our network, and we talk about it on our radio show and advertise and billboards, and we have an app that we send out push notifications to, and essentially it's our commitment to the community where we're promoting a connection to these small businesses, because small businesses are really what makes this economy operate, and making sure that money's in the hands of these small business owners for each of these communities. They're just working class people trying to do the best they can, and it's really hard to compete with this huge corporate structure in our current environment, especially with corporations having the amount of control that they have. So with that, Alex, you want to talk to us about your program? And you've been a partner with us for about 3 years, right?
Yes, correct.
So why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, okay. My name is Alex Carrasco, and I am from Employee Savings Tickets. And Employee Savings Tickets is your exclusive discount ticket provider for Teamsters 1932. And we have been partners now for about, like I said, 3 years. We provide everything from discounts to theme parks, movies, hotels, rent-a-cars, airfare. The list goes on and on. You know, we're trying to provide even more stuff. We're getting a little bit more creative with some of the attractions and venues that we're bringing on. Recently, we've been adding on something different, like wine tours in some of the like Paso Robles. Working on trying to get something here locally in
Is there a beer tour?
There is.
Is there a beer tour?
Yes.
I was only kidding.
No, there is.
Okay.
Well, it includes.
I can't do wine, so I don't go on wine tours. But
well, there's not only beer, but there's actually whiskey and
hard liquor.
Yeah. So
you said whiskey?
Yeah,
whiskey?
Yeah.
So a whiskey tour?
Well,
I can't imagine that.
So if anybody's
do a
ever
shot
been
everywhere
to,
you go, you don't
short
survive
tour.
that. Yeah.
No. So if you guys have ever been to Paso Robles, there's a place up there. It's called Tin City. And Tin City it's a U-shaped street that has a variety of different wine tasting bars, restaurants, breweries, and distilleries. And so you could either choose a 2-hour tour or a 4-hour tour if you think it can last that long.
Yeah. Okay. 30 minutes for me. I'm a lightweight.
Yeah. So, we're trying to get out of the normal thing of just offering your typical Universal Studios, Disneyland. I mean, we offer all that stuff, right? Movies, all that good stuff. There's actually
the variety of these packages makes it fun. It makes it
so
more
I mean,
engaging.
everybody wants to get away, right? Yeah. So
and Disneyland's the last place I want to go. Like gazillion people there.
I
every
would
time
recommend a Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, no. Actually, any day is good. Universal Studios is a great partner as well too. They're bringing on some new stuff. They have it's not an after hours ticket, but it's a ticket that caters more to. It's called FanFest, and FanFest is really just focusing on like animation and your favorite attractions, like what do you call it?
I don't know. It's your story, man.
Yeah, I know. So there's a lot of different. When you go on the website, you'll be able to see it's all brand new. So we're trying to get people excited about that. But again, we have a variety of other things. People don't know that we actually have discount.
Try to stay close to that mic, just so you know.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're starting to drift out here. Right?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You talk with your hands, man.
I definitely talk with my hands.
I'm with you on that. It took me a while to be anchored to the mic. So
yeah. So, but yeah, no, we have discounts for rental cars and stuff like that. Hotels, the hotel discounts that we have are amazing. We just kicked off a new campaign for spring break, and which offers some really great deals for hotels and vacation packages. So that in the movies, there's some new.
Do you remember Spring Break in Palm Springs?
Yeah.
I saw the look on his face. Oh, he remembers.
Well, I grew up in the 80s, so
he remembers.
We need stories.
No, we can't tell stories. No. Spring Break in Palm Springs was off the charts.
Yes, it was.
That city went nuts for like 3 weeks. Like it got flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And boy, what a good time it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you just cruise, like many of the times I would just cruise into town, but it would take 3-4 hours to drive through Palm Springs, coming down Palm Canyon, and then another 2 or 3 to get back up Indian Canyon.
Right.
So you're talking 5 hours of just literally inching through traffic while party scene is literally happening everywhere all around you. Right. It was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Motorcycles with G-strings.
We never missed it.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, right. Look, I see that look at his face. Yeah. Anyway, that's for another show. We'll do it.
Yeah,
we'll have a retro where everybody comes on the show and we talk about our experiences in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
When spring break was in, and that was also when spring break was compacted into a shorter window. Yeah. Remember, it was really over 2 or 3 weeks, and now it's like stretched over like 5 weeks. And
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I got off on the spring break stuff.
But we do have discounts for spring break hotels too, so you can create your own spring break.
Your own package,
yeah,
your own little party.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of hotels get a bunch of rooms in a hotel, and you can get the same feeling as you're going down the hallway. I'm just kidding.
Hey, a golf tournament would be bad.
Spring break golf tournament.
Idea.
Yeah, didn't they break that up at that golf course down in Corona that one time when they?
Oh, wait, slow down.
Was that like 92 or something like that?
Yeah, they had a tent at every hole.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, everybody had a tent.
Yeah, when you really think back at some of the things that went on, like you got to go, Anyway, things that make you go, That's a song. Anyway, let's talk about your discounts here. We all got distracted. My bad.
Yeah, no. The discounts are available on the website. If you want, it is a gated website, so it's exclusive to the members. So they do have to have an access code. I won't give out the access code over the radio because want everybody.
Everybody can listen.
Yeah. So
how do they get the access code from us, Mark?
They call into the front office, talk to Michelle or Fatima or Jen. Who answers the phone.
Right.
And they have to give their membership ID or their work ID, obviously.
Okay, cool. Right. As long as we're explaining to everybody.
Yeah. Do you want me to give the phone number out?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, the phone number is 909-889-8377. Or you can go onto the website as well, too, at teamsters1932.org. But yeah, I mean, we're really excited about the partnership. We've been bringing on some pretty cool stuff. We do have Castle Park that we just recently brought on.
Castle Park, I remember that as a kid.
I know.
Still around. They haven't tore it down and put houses over it yet. Huh?
Yeah. So
it's so fun to go back to like places like that that you were a kid, and then as an adult with your kids, and then as an adult after your kids are too old. Like it's always interesting to see the perspective on what you enjoy.
Right. Well, and now that during the October for the Halloween, they have Castle Dark now.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I haven't been to it. One of these definitely got to try that.
Yeah. So, I know it's February, but next month is spring break.
I know, isn't it crazy?
It's hard. We're right around the corner, and the next.
Are we going to get on the spring break conversation again?
And then the water parks are going to be open in May, so it's like it just happens so fast.
Yep, and you got to plan for it.
Yep. So, but everything's available on the website. The website is est.us.com, and you can get your access code through the union.
Right. So, Mark, Alex was sitting here saying, "No, I haven't. It's been." How long you had the radio show? I told him how long. He says, how come no one's told me? So what's going on, Mark?
Oh, I got to blow you up on the air?
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, let me get my text message.
I called that months ago.
I called this out.
Hold it. Robert, take my phone and put it in front of the camera. Poor Alex, man. I hit him up.
What you tell me, you might come on the air, right?
Alex's timeline is like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. And then it'll be like a week or two goes by, and I'll text him back. Oh, brother, I forgot all about you.
That's all right. We got him here now.
He does text me while I'm on the golf course.
Oh, see? You look like it. You got a good tan. You look like you've been out swinging the clubs, walking the links.
Your priorities, apparently.
Do you have golf? Do you have discount golf in here, too?
No.
What?
Golf does not need help in that.
Yeah, it's become a pretty mainstream sport. You know,
Yeah, I think
a lot of
once-
people
once,
are golfing. It used to be a very exclusive. You know, you had to be wealthy, and now there's a lot of people that play.
You can thank COVID for that.
That's true. COVID exploded during golf. Golf exploded during.
Yeah,
COVID.
it was like one of the things that you can do when during COVID, and golf, the sport, just blew up.
So is there anything you want to wrap up on before we close out your part of the show? We really appreciate you coming on. We appreciate the partnership that you have with the organization. And how much do we charge you for all this? We don't charge you anything,
tickets,
do we?
I don't know.
No, we don't even charge you anything.
No.
That's kind of the point. That's what we're advertising, is that we do this as an organization to really engage the local community and prove that there are things that every organization could do to lift one another up and to bring a real holistic community, and encouraging our members to participate in these small businesses, as well as connecting to the discounts that are offered through that partnership. There's no reason for us to try to make any money on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cost is bared on us managing the program, which is not cheap.
Right.
But we feel like the benefit that our members get from it in the overall, when you spread that out among everybody, and how if they go to the movies, or they go to a restaurant, or whatever it is that they're going to do, that they pick up a little bit of discount along the way, that it really pays for itself in the long run. So really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Alex.
thank you. I appreciate it. I always try to get involved with the communities and with our local union partners, we look forward to continuing our relationship.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, Alex. This is
Thank
Randy
you.
Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM in the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. We're going to take a quick break here, probably just about 30 seconds, 45 seconds to bring on our next guest. Do you got some music keyed up already on me? All right.
Yeah.
Talk to you now.
Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Yeah. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. I can feel it. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Yeah. We just wanna see you shake that. In the club, party rock. Looking for your girl, she on me. Now stop when we in the spot. Moving weight like she on the block. With a drink, I got to know. Top jeans tattoo, cause I'm rock. Half black, half white, diamond now. Gang of money, open up. Yo, I'm running through these like Drano. I got that devilish flow. Rock and roll, no halo. We party rock. Yeah, that's the crew that I'm repping on a rise to the top. No lead in our Zeppelin. Hey, party rock is in the house tonight. Woo! Everybody just have a good time. Yeah, and we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Feel it, man. And we gon' make you lose your mind. We just wanna see you shake that. Every day I'm shuffling. Shuffling. Step up fast and be the first girl to make me. We get mine, don't be mad, now stop. Hating is bad. One more for us, another. Please fill up. Don't mess around. We just wanna see you shaking up. Now you home with me.
Get up, get down, put your hands up to the sun. Get up, get down, put your hands up to the sun. Get up, get down, put your hands up to the sun. Put your hands up to the sun. Put your hands up to the sun. Get up, 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 get up. Put your hands up to the sun, to the sun. Put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up.
shuffling.
It starts with one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look
All right. Randy Corgan here, back at the Worker Power Hour. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Sorry, I had a little hiccup in the middle of this. Got a bloody nose. What's that?
I said your Skype is up.
Is it? All right. We got Richard on from the Oregon Nurses Association, I believe, right? And so
Correct.
What's that? Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. We got him connected. We got him live. I can hear you. Hey, why don't you introduce yourself? Obviously, you guys are on strike. You got a story to tell up there. Appreciate you coming on the show and sharing what's going on in Oregon. Obviously, this is these labor disputes that are erupting everywhere else. We definitely like this space that we have here, our members to hear it. Obviously, all the listeners that are not our members to understand that these types of fights are going on all over the place, and it's really important for us to pay attention to them. So why don't you tell us what's going on, Richard?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Richard Botterill. I'm an emergency room nurse at Providence, Portland. I'm the chair of the bargaining team there. I'm also on the Oregon Nursing Association Board of Directors. And today is day 34 of our strike. 8 hospitals, so all out on strike, all the nurses, around 5,000 nurses. We've also had doctors out joining us. We've had OBGYNs, midwives out joining us. Currently have, truly amazing support from all of our community, from the other unions in town. I mean, we even had UNAC was up here a few weeks ago supporting us out on the picket lines. So it's a little cooler up here. We were around 27 degrees this morning when people were out on the line. But we just have great turnout, great support. Providence put forward a TA, a tentative agreement, last week, and we put that to a vote. And as we expected, it went down by, I think we had 92% of our nurses responded on the vote, and it was voted down by about 83%.
Wow, what are the issues that are really behind the difference? If you want to talk about it, you don't have to. I understand sometimes you want to keep that separate. But.
No. I'm happy to talk about that. There are kind of a few major issues. Staffing is one of them, and maintaining adequate staffing and decent staffing so we can provide the support, that we are expected to provide and we should be providing for the communities that we serve. And that's been accentuated lately because early last year, we got House Bill 2697 into law in the state of Oregon, which is known as the Safe Staffing Bill. And there's a big difference in the way we as nurses and the union interpret that law, and how the hospitals, specifically my hospital healthcare system is Providence, how they interpret that law. So that's huge. Another big one is retroactive pay. We've always had retro pay at Providence, and we have a number of hospitals. The earliest hospital whose contract expired was in December of 2023. So they've been out of contract for well over a year now, and Providence is saying, no, we're not going to give you retro. And there's been a number of other hospitals between then and now whose contracts have expired, and they're still saying no retro. My hospital's contract ended the end of last year, and we were out on strike within a few days. So we're not really impacted by that. We are pushing to get contract alignment, so all of us have our same termination dates on our contract. Providence are fighting that. We're looking at wages so that we have a decent wage scale that's competitive in our marketplace. And we're looking at healthcare. We don't have the greatest healthcare, which is...
Whoa. Hold on a minute. You're telling me you're nurses?
Yeah.
I find this so intriguing that all these labor disputes recently, when it comes to those in the healthcare field, are struggling with their employer to have good health care. Like, isn't that insane? Tell me about the contradiction of that.
It's beyond insane. We work in an area, a lot of the people I work with, we work through, as did nurses throughout the country, all of the last pandemic. Putting ourselves at risk, putting our families at risk. I know lots of nurses who were, for example, going home and changing in the garage, getting into the shower, and then living in a different room at home. So they didn't run the risk of spreading that disease, that virus, to their families. I know others who stayed in motels for the entire time. So, yeah.
And one thing about, I don't mean to cut you off, but one thing about this industry that I found profound during COVID is that there are a lot of people that left the industry. In other words, they said, okay, I'm not cut out for this, and they bounced. So all of you that are in it now are the ones that stuck it out, that did all the things and the sacrifices like you're laying out right now, and didn't run when things got tough. You rolled through it, and now you're like, hey, employers or institutions, it's time to step up to the plate. Sorry to cut you off.
No, absolutely. You're right on the money. A lot of people did leave for a variety of reasons. That was a hard time for everyone, I think. The other piece of this is that prior to that occurring, we already knew that we had a nursing staffing shortage coming. It's something we've been talking with our execs and our management about for some time. And now with COVID and the aftermath of COVID, plus the continuing nurse staffing shortage, because a lot of the senior nurses were baby boomers. Everyone's retiring, getting ready to retire. And there's a kind of a double whammy on that, because one, we're running low on our experienced nurses, the ones that teach new nurses. There's an old thing in nursing, nursing school's great. It really is. It's a tough school. And then you learn to be a nurse once you're out there working in the field. So we have that going on. And now we have not just nurses leaving as they're retiring, but if you look at a lot of the people that come into hospitals that are getting sick, they tend to be older people.
Right.
So now we have a lot of baby boomers coming in. So we've got a reduction in nursing staff and an increase in census. So yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things, and they're really not paying attention to it. We need to be able to retain our nurses. We need to recruit nurses, and some respect wouldn't be too bad to expect either.
Well, I've always found that respect always seems to be at the top of the list when it comes to disputes, because clearly if the employer actually respected you, you wouldn't have the dispute to begin with, right? So,
correct.
So the dispute itself, I always find it, again, it's alarming that those that are in the healthcare field, hold on real quick, we're being joined by a nurse right now. Kato, you're a nurse, right?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I am.
So
look out, trouble is here.
That's right, yeah. She's out of one of our bargaining units. Sorry, I'm doing this right in the middle. I'm changing things on the fly. But Richard, in an industry that provides health care for the public, provides this safety net, to see that these employers do not prioritize, number one, your health and your safety, and then on top of it, a lot of times don't provide good health care. It's mind-boggling, and it just shows that corporate America has got such a grip on the healthcare system that it's being driven by dollars and cents and profit margins, which you've got to think, how are you building a profit margin on people living or dying? It just shows how imbalanced the system is right now. And then how many nurses you have out on strike right now up in Oregon?
5,000.
So this is no small feat. This is enormous. 5,000 nurses are walking the picket line, actively walking the picket line right now. And clearly you've got, I heard you say a couple names in the healthcare industry where they've entered this industry over the last couple decades, and they're driving this profit margin, right? And they're really looking at things on a spreadsheet versus real understanding what's going on inside that patient room, or when connected to the patient when they're coming out, outpatient or inpatient. And it's amazing that to bring the awareness up that you've got to go this far, which is to actually walk off the job. I'm sorry, it's a mouthful, but I'm just shocked by it that these corporations are that kind of getting that cold and callous.
Well, I think you touched on it when you talked about the corporatization of healthcare. It's the hospitals, it's insurance, it's the drug companies. There's a lot of corporatization right now, and it's all about, one of our sayings is we want to put our patients over profits. And Providence, I think, takes the opposite view. They want to put profits over patients. Providence Healthcare is theoretically a not-for-profit organization, but they do have $7.8 billion in cash reserves. So
right.
Kind of a contradiction in terms there.
Yeah, Kaiser tries to profess themselves too. Many healthcare institutions try to say the same thing, but again, you're being run by a corporation and you're operating in a space where that environment has created cost-cutting measures. Again, all of those typically leading to a diminished ability to provide good health care. So what are the things you want to tell our listeners, Richard? Obviously, we'd love to get in a bus and go over there and help you. It's quite the drive for us, but don't put us past us. I get, every time I say something on a show like this, I get a bunch of members that call and say, get the bus ready, go, because I don't know if you're aware, we do have a 50-plus passenger bus that looks really nice, and our members love to go on long rides on it. So what do you need help from us for?
We've had so much help and support from the Teamsters, from AFL-CIO, from all the other unions up here. I mean, it really is. I think that's the way. I'm listening to a book right now. It's called Offshore, I think it is. And the discussion in this book is how the older medieval, if you like, structure of kings, queens, nobility, down all the way down to the serfs that used to exist is now being replaced by the billionaires and millionaires, and those of us that work and provide the work that gives them the money in the first place. And that the only way we are able to combat that, to fight that, to go back at that, is if all of the unions work together. And there's more of us than there are of them, right? So I think all of us working together, supporting each other, whatever it might be. I mean, we happen to be healthcare. There's a lot of other, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, a lot of other areas that are either on strike or talking about going on strike now. And I think we're going to see, I hope we're going to see more and more of that as we all stick together. I mean, I know that one example, that the hospital I'm at, they've run out of Pepsi Cola in the canteen, in the cafeteria, because the Teamsters are refusing to deliver.
That's right.
There's a unity there. They're not crossing the picket line, and that's happening with a lot of different areas. So I think that kind of thing, providing any kind of support, and what we're doing right now is amazing to me, because I know we have Providence down in California. I've worked at some of the hospitals down there. So this is
if you want to hold a rally,
just what we're doing.
Yeah, if you want to hold a rally down here, let us know. We'll definitely mobilize for it and help get people out to it. We do have a question from a listener who is a nurse as well. What's your take on the new administration's launch of AI nurse bots? Is this affecting your discussions or bargaining? That deliver care with a smile for $9 an hour. What? Again, this coming in from a listener who would like to hear your perspective on how some of these things. I get it. Sometimes these ideas sound good, like on the media or on TV, and oh yeah, we could do this and we could do that. But when you get practically speaking in the emergency room, or where the nurse is caring for somebody, practically speaking, it's not going to fit the same way. What's your take on the whole comment about AI nurse bots?
Scares the hell out of me.
I figured you'd be that.
And I think it should scare the hell out of the communities we support, the patients that we support, the families that we support. They have talked about, and they do at times have, a screen at the end of the room with a nurse or a face at least on that screen, but that person is not going to take care of the patient too well. You're not going to be able to feed them, give them medications, take their vital. I mean, there's a lot of things the bot cannot do. And AI in general, I think, especially with some of the latest things we're seeing about not having any kind of controls or monitoring or laws, rules, whatever, over AI, it is ripe for abuse, misuse, appropriation of things. You can do so much with AI that how do you know if what you're getting is accurate or if it's not accurate?
Well, it's interesting.
You can do a lot of damage with that technology.
Yeah, there's some things I've tested it in fields where there's a slight variation in the law or interpretations in particular like subject matters, and I've noticed that AI blends over between them sometimes. And now if you do that and make that mistake when it comes to your health, you literally are going to kill somebody. So
yes.
Writing a paper or making a decision while you're arguing a certain point, or I'm in bargaining or something like that, it's very different than the impact that it's going to absolutely make when you're actually making a potentially life or death decision, or in some cases just making a normal decision that turns into a negative impact.
Yeah, the whole thing of putting profits over patients, which I think a lot of the large healthcare corporations are starting to look at. They want to reduce the number of nurses you have out there, and nursing is as I said, it's a tough school to get through. It's challenging, and it's hard, and there's a reason for that, right? Because we're taking care of people's lives and their well-being of their families. And when you're starting to reduce the number of nurses that can provide that care goes down. It's simple. You don't get the same quality of care, the same level of care. It's not a complicated question. And I think a good argument can be made that having decent healthcare for all, affordable healthcare, not having that is a violation of our Constitution, for heaven's sakes. I mean, isn't that part of what we stand for as a country, is providing care for each other?
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. Instead of stepping on one another, we should be helping one another on a regular basis. So, Cato, you're a nurse too, right?
Yes.
You got to talk close to the microphone there. What's it? How's it make you feel to hear this happening up in Oregon with all these great people that are serving the public every single day?
So it's very discouraging, to hear that they are trying to replace us with AI, because you can never replace a nurse with AI. We in real time look at patients taking their last breath. Yes, AI can monitor your vitals, but they can't predict the turn, right? And so we need to be able to respond when that happens. As you mentioned, when we're doing vital signs assessments, all of those kind of things, it's vitally important because it is life or death for some patients, right? We can see you 1 minute and you're stable, and in the blink of an eye, your homeostasis can change, and then now it's a life-threatening event. So when we have people out here that are out here striking, and that is worker power, that's unity, that is the solidarity we need to make sure that we're supporting each other during this, because we're all in this together, and it doesn't matter if you're in Oregon or if you're in California, it'll still trickle down. At the end of the day, it is life or death for someone. So it's a little disheartening to know that we're in a profession where we care for people, but people don't care enough for what we do or respect what we do. And at the end of the day, it will cost people their lives.
Yeah, Richard, this is Cato. She's a registered nurse with us. She's in one of our bargaining units. Forgive me for not remembering exactly, because we've got so many of them here at the local union. And we represent a lot of nurses, registered nurses. We also represent nurse managers of one of the biggest hospitals in the region too. And so she would happen to be out waiting her turn. I was like, man, just grab her. I got a nurse on, pull her in here, and all of a sudden it just makes for a better combination on the fly here. So appreciate you being on. You've got a few minutes left. What do you want to close with, Richard, as far as a message to everybody out there? I do have a mandatory break at the top of the hour. I can't stop because of NBC.
So, what Cato said, one of the things she said right at the beginning when she first started talking, is about holding the person's hand as they're leaving the earth, as they're leaving this earth. And that's something we do. And AI is not going to hold someone's hand when they leave this earth, as they're getting ready to leave. And the thing is, it's not just that moment, because after that happens, as a nurse, I'm caring for the family that are there, the mother, father, husband, grandparent, whatever it might be, taking care, helping them, caring for them, making sure they're okay. Other family members are coming in. Obviously, very, very emotional times. It doesn't happen with AI.
Yeah, to that,
it's human. It's human to human. That's what it's about.
To that point, what you remind me of is a little more than a year ago when I faced my own very, very difficult health situation that was very intense. I still remember the nurse that was by my side when we were getting through this, and those very critical hours, you can tell that nurse, his name was Mike, really, really cared, was truly invested in my health, getting me over the hump of what I had to get over in that couple hours. Mm-hmm. And then I happened to be in bargaining for the county at the same time. And obviously when I came back to work, we had nurse managers in the bargaining, and all the nurses, were we were all attached because they knew what I was going through, and just the care that's there is just incredible. And so that connection, obviously AI is not going to connect to, and I hate to cut this thing off because I've only got a minute left, but thank you, Richard, for what you do. Thank you so much. We also get to do a quick shout out for Tisak. He actually he's part of the union that represents this group there with the Oregon Nurses Association. And thanks for jumping in the last minute here, Cato, for coming in.
Yes,
and thank you all in the healthcare industry for the work that you do, not just registered nurses, but everybody else. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Can you say something in 15 seconds, Richard, to close this out?
Just thank you so much for giving us a little bit of time here, for hearing us. Very emotional, the connection.
Yep. And we'll get you back on a future show if you still have your dispute coming on. Even get you on after you win. Like to really talk about the success that comes from it. And this is Randy Corrigan and the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Take it away to the break.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. President Trump says a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin was highly productive.
Putin wants peace, and President Zelensky wants peace, and I want peace. I just want to see people stop getting killed. We're very far away from that particular war, but that's a vicious war.
He said the two will work closely together on negotiations, including visiting each other's nations at some point. Over 100 million people are in the path of intense winter weather from Colorado to Maine. The National Weather Service said storm systems are causing bitter cold temperatures, leading to treacherous travel conditions. The icy conditions and snowfall are expected to impact these same regions over the next 2 days, and another storm is expected to move in by the weekend. In the south, heavy rain has caused 15 million to be placed under flood alerts from parts of Texas to southern Kentucky. Meanwhile, around 10 million are in the path of possible tornadoes from Alabama to Louisiana. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Are you looking for a good union job? The Inland Empire's 14,000 member strong Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get working people trained and placed in open positions in public service clerical work and in jobs in the logistics industry. This is a new opportunity to advance your career and raise standards across the region. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
When you shop with local merchants, more of your money stays close to home. By helping support local businesses, we all benefit. This message from MyTran eShop, family owned and operated for over 30 years. Save and bring your foreign or domestic vehicle to MyTran eShop, located at 21891 Alessandro Boulevard in Moreno Valley, or call 951-243-7675. Visit online at mytraneshop.com. That's MyTRANE shop.com. That's MyTran eShop, proud supporters of our local businesses.
Now, here's a new concept. Digital Network Advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising, DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising, 909-222-9293.
This segment sponsored by our radio listening post in Yucaipa. Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, where you can get healthy in the heart of Yucaipa. You'll find locally sourced fresh fruit, vegetables, farm eggs, honey, fresh bread, nuts, and for your sweet tooth, delicious ice cream and locally produced candy from licorice to chocolates, all to your heart's content. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, just down the street from Toscano's Pizza between 13th and 14th on Yucaipa Boulevard. Open every day, weekdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on weekends to 5 p.m. For more info, you can call 909-790-6106. That's 909-790-6106. Shop local with Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce. Tell them you heard it on this radio station and saw it on the DNA advertising screen inside the store. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce. Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Randy Corrigan here, back on the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. All right. You know what's nice about this music is it's switching up on us. It's definitely a variety for us, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Well, I downloaded that one because you said there's a song, so while you were yapping.
All right. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host. We do have Chris Ochoa on the line. We'll be getting to you in just a minute. We're going to finish up with our member here, Katrina Cato. I always call you Cato because it's your last name. And, I was touched by Richard there at the end. You know, it just reminds me of how important it is for our healthcare professionals. You know, obviously when I went through an extremely difficult time, it was the healthcare professionals that got me over the hump. And I don't forget how those individuals were connected to me. And then coming into bargaining, I came back to work way too soon. I think everybody knows that. But, those from healthcare, not everybody embraced me very, very well, but the nurses were like, Randy, you got to do this, you got to do that. It was there's just that level of care and instinct that people in this space really bring to it. And Katrina, really appreciate what you bring to it. So you got a few minutes here to take the mic before we get to Chris. Again, council member from Hesperia is hanging on the line. I can see him on the call right there. Just be patient with us. Really appreciate you coming on, Chris. But it's our members' moment right now.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Councilman Ochoa. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Randy, for inviting me here to the show today. Thank you for all of our members that are listening. It's a pleasure to be here. One of the reasons that I joined, so I've organized a campaign.
Yes, you were part of that organizing drive up in the high desert.
Yes, and I had everybody ready in 2 months. We were voting. But what was so important to me was that we all had a voice at the table, right? Oftentimes we'll sit at the table and we're just being served what's being placed in front of us without having an option to say what we would like. And it's important when you're bargaining for your rights to be able to have a voice at the table. So that was very important to me. It was an important message for me to get out to the people that we were organizing. We wanted to be able to have a fair share. Being in healthcare, we were running into that issue. COVID hit. We didn't have the protections we needed. We were being forced to work. We were being underpaid, overworked, the whole nine. So it was important that we drove that message home, and that's what helped us organize and get together so fast with that contract. Now I've actually come over. I'm here with San Bernardino County Public Health. I'm still nursing, so we're attending to the general public, but it is very important. You can't teach nurses to care, right? You can't teach that. It's just something that's within you if you're a nurse. And as you mentioned, everybody rallied around you afterwards to make sure that you still felt that support so that you can still get healthy, even though you were now back to work, right? You still have to scale back. You still have to make sure I always tell people to don't push yourself, pace yourself. Right. And that's very important because oftentimes we're ready to go ham and then we're stuck. Right. We get in this little pickle. So, yeah, I appreciate being here. Now I'm on the NEO team. So
yeah, shout out to the NEO team.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. We have an incredible team. Abe leads our team. I have an incredible BA, Atrius, and we work as a unit.
Don't say that too loud. You get them all, they'll get their heads too big.
Right. I'm just going to pump them up. But no, really, we have an incredible NEO team. I really enjoy going out, speaking to the new members, letting them know, because being in a union isn't always just about someone being there when you get in trouble at work, right?
Correct.
We are a
prevent
family.
you from getting in trouble too.
Yes,
right.
but we're a
Advocate for
family.
you. Yeah.
And one of the things that I really like about our local 1932, I always affectionately call us T1932, like the Terminator, so like we're really bad like that because we're IBT. But one of the things, we're very family oriented here. I really appreciate your leadership, the events that we do throughout the years for the members. I'm encouraging them. It's a buy-in, right? But we're here together.
It's a shared responsibility.
Yes.
We have to all participate in this space.
Yes.
Yes.
And we do these events for the members, for you guys to come out. And it's all included in the membership, right? So it's not something that costs them extra. But we do those family events. We make sure the members are supported, and we try to make sure that we outreach. This particular weekend, we'll be going out, knocking on doors, trying to make sure that we're reconnecting with members that, may have just kind of went astray a little bit, or that need to be reminded that we are here to support and help them. So really looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting my hands dirty, rolling up my sleeves, supporting my other IBT brothers and sisters throughout our local and throughout the nation, because we're going to be faced with some unprecedented times ahead of us, but we're in it together.
That's right. Corporate America has taken the controls of this country, and we're going to have to deal with it. And guess what? It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. And we're not going to whine and cry for whatever period of time. What we're doing is we're going to get to work. Yes. We're going to knock on doors. We're going to agitate and make sure that workers are protected, period.
Yes.
Make sure that workers are protected. And that is whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent. What's important is identifying with our workers and their jobs and responsibilities and their contribution to the community being protected. So thanks for coming on, Cato.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate
Thank you for
that.
having
Let
me.
me switch over here to our council member. And what I can do here is just shut your mic off real quick. Transition. And so, Council Member Ochoa, thanks for coming on. I know we've had a hard time connecting, but
yes.
Why don't you introduce yourself? And I know you're an endorsed candidate from the local, and we're happy to have a strong relationship there in Hesperia. It's an area that we've tried to work hard at building strong relationships, and hopefully we can build a stronger one with the city of Hesperia. So you got the floor, Councilmember Ochoa.
Well, thank you. Definitely. I'm a huge supporter of the Teamsters and the labor union movement and its ongoing movement. And I love what you said. It's something that we're always going to have to keep fighting for, and doing the work and knocking on doors and talking to people and representing. That's what I hope to do here in Hesperia. That's one of the reasons why I decided to get involved, is simply because we were dealing with very low-paying jobs in the area. We're dealing with record high unemployment. I think it's a little over 9%, which is higher than the state and national average. And we're dealing with 18% of our people here in the city of Hesperia living at or near the poverty line. And those are big numbers. And for as amazing as Hesperia is to live, and it's safe, safest city in the high desert, we still have a lot of work to do. And just because it looks great on the surface, it doesn't mean there aren't things underneath the surface we can't focus on and work on. I got involved because I'm not afraid to identify those issues. I'm not afraid to do the hard work that comes with fixing those issues. And it's going to take a collaboration of work between myself and the other electeds on the city council and working together and coming up with those solutions. I'm committed to that work.
So why is it that you sought labor support? What makes us that important?
Well, simply because I know what it did for my life. I grew up a labor kid. My mom was a postal carrier for the United States Postal Service, very active in her labor union. I remember being a little boy at union halls in LA, old churches and old buildings and being in pews and listening to people, trying to fight for just a better living wage. And it was exciting, and it's something that I'll always remember and hold dear. Everything that I have now, everything that my family has is because of the unions, because of fair wages and living wages.
Yeah, a lot of people take for granted collective bargaining and the power of collective bargaining, especially if you've had it for a long time. Like right now, shockingly, public sector bargaining rights in Utah are on the governor's desk to be eliminated. In other words, the Assembly and the Senate have passed it. It's there at the governor's office, and hopefully he doesn't sign it. And hopefully, this space where people think that somehow things are going to be better if you eliminate collective bargaining is just crazy. And obviously it's just an attack on workers. It's an attack on unions. And then they say, oh, well, unions are just these union bosses, and, they villainize us as individuals. Believe me, I've had my share of those situations. The reality is unions are comprised of workers like your mother and Cato here and the 14,000+ that we represent here and the millions that are union across this country. They're making sure that this community operates every single day, whether it's making sure a package gets delivered to your house, food gets to a store or a restaurant, the kids get what they need at a school, or the teacher that's delivering, making sure that to attack this it's mind-boggling that it's okay. And what I'm challenging local elected officials to do, and I'll just do it here on the air with you, council member, is what we've found is that local government can actually pass more pro-worker legislation than they realize. In other words,
absolutely,
when developments come in, obviously the high desert has not done a good job with jobs. They've just not. San Bernardino County has done a horrible job with jobs. I know they all brag, we do a great job, we've got lots of jobs coming here. Yeah, lots of jobs, but not good jobs. And then you got to define what good jobs are. And whenever there's a giveaway of tax dollars or there's a giveaway of infrastructure or whatever it may be, there's always a way to attach responsibilities to not just the developer and who's going to be there, but who's going to occupy it in the future. Cities can pass ordinances that protect workers. Cities can pass ordinances that build infrastructure around workers, and quite frankly, make the businesses pay for it. Like, well, where are we going to get that? Where are we going to? Well, if they want to come in to do business, you look at like a Target or any of these big chains. They want to come in and they make millions of dollars in revenue on, let's say, just a retail end of things, like or a warehouse or an operation comes in and they're making all this money because they physically have to be in a high population area. We turn around and then don't hold them accountable in a way where we have infrastructure at the local level to enforce protections of those jobs, making sure that they stay, making sure that they're grounded, making sure that they're at a certain pay level, making sure that a certain benefit level. Instead, what happens is, oh, well, the NLRB and this and that. Well, we're watching right now that a president just come in and has fired all these people that are in charge of federal regulatory agencies. Okay, well, you're right. He's the president. He thinks he's got that right. Some of us don't think he's got that right. That's going to be argued in the courts. What I will make clear on this call, or excuse me, on this show, is that cities actually have the right to do some of that at the city level, and they need to start doing it now. That way you don't have to worry about this thing swinging back and forth in a situation where one administration does this, another administration does that, and then over a multi-decade period, nothing really gets done because it's too busy a ball being kicked back and forth. But local government is way more powerful than anybody gives it credit for, and people like you have the ability to build or to build an infrastructure around workers in your given area. What do you think about all those things I just said? I know that's a ton, and that could probably take up a 2-hour show just responding to all that.
Yeah. Well, it's a ton, and it's going to be a lot of work. I can't speak for the council members that are there with me now. I can speak to past councils, and you're absolutely right. There hasn't been a lot of work done to bring in or even support project labor agreements and get those PLAs done for our public projects and promoting union jobs throughout the high desert and growth. I mean, and that's just not in Hesperia. That's across our entire region. And it's about being that person that's going to be willing to have the conversation. I mean, to wrap it all up, it's my job, being an elected who's pro-union, to sit down and have the one-on-one conversations with my fellow council members and talk about why it would benefit our area to take this path and to promote union jobs and get those throughout our high desert growth sectors, and really just encouraging labor-friendly policies, looking at expanding into construction, healthcare, and renewable energy. Because I mean, we're in the desert. We have nothing but land here to get creative with, and it's our job to be creative, hold developers accountable. Just as you said, there's definitely avenues to ensure that these big major companies are going to be paying their fair share and paying their employees a fair living wage. And absolutely, I agree. Local ordinances are critical, and writing fair workplace and living wage ordinances at the city level is something that I'm definitely going to be looking into. And it's my responsibility to navigate how at this time where the city's direction is going in, and seeing how it is that I could supplement that, and promoting an ordinance that will advocate for fair workplace and living wage outcomes is something that is definitely that I'm going to hang my hat on. Definitely something I'm going to fight for.
It's good that obviously it's encouraging to hear this, and obviously when you get into the weeds of trying to build it out and making sure that their support, it obviously creates dynamics that sometimes it's hard to get people behind it. But the reality is if you see, currently right now, the majority of people in this country want the gut of the federal workforce. Okay, well, I disagree. I think it's a mistake. But whatever. Like, if that's where people are, that's fine, because it actually supports something I've always said, which is local government has the ability to take care of this. They just have not kind of exercised that space in the right way. Before there was the National Labor Relations Board, before there was OSHA, before there was any of these federal rules that protected workers, protected workspaces, and created all the protectionisms around what we're discussing, which is under full attack right now. Before that protection was actually only found under a union contract or within a city government agency or a local agency. And we were able to, in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, prior to bargaining being technically legal, and then it was, obviously in 34, 35, and it moved into other parts of the workplace beyond that. My point to bring in all this up is that it was actually done more locally then, and that when these agencies were created federally to create something more uniform and broader and to make sure everybody was on board with it, a lot of local government backed off of that space, and now for multiple decades, arguably almost a century, they just don't feel like it's their place to do it. Well, that's the federal government's. Well, if everybody's complaining the federal government's broken, then do something about it. Like, do it right. If these people live and work in your community, then build the infrastructure to take care of them. Don't dump it on an agency that's going to get whipsawed back and forth by national politics. We all know that whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, we don't necessarily always agree with whatever's going on at the national level. And so the reality is we're more connected to what's going on at the local level. And I'm always trying to really push those at your level to be more robust and be more brazen about it and really try to occupy the space versus somebody jumping in, I want to become a city council member because then ultimately I want to run for assembly, or I want to run for this, or I want to run for Congress. And I always scratch my head and go, you're moving into a space where you actually get less done. Stay in the other space where you can actually get more done. Again, I know it's a mouthful, Chris, and I just want to throw all that at you. And man, we'd really like more and more leaders, elected leaders in the area, to help us kind of move in that direction. I'm going to tell you a little story as soon as you respond to this.
Well, yeah, definitely. And that's always a question that gets asked of me, what's next? And I go, honestly, I'm committed to Hesperia. It's going to be a long time before we get the results that I'm going to be happy with. I'm going to try to move as fast as possible and addressing key infrastructure issues and social justice issues throughout the city, and getting ahead of some of the damages that have been done in the past, and moving forward into that bright future that we hope in light of the federal atmosphere that we're dealing with right now. And mind you, I've spoken to several federal employees here locally that are afraid. They're afraid they're going to lose their job, and they don't know what's next. They've been, they feel like they're in a hostile work environment. And, unfortunately, at the federal level, there's not much I can do. But here at the local level, I know what we should be doing. And that's, and like you said, you have to, if you want to affect people's lives every day, the local level is the place to do it.
Yeah, and the energy's there right now.
That's my intention. I'm committed.
Yeah, you're breaking up. So the energy's there right now to do exactly what you're talking about. And the reality is almost everything that has an agency at the federal level has the ability to either have it at the state level in addition to the city or, some regional body or agency. So it just because there's a federal organization to manage, regulate, or handle an issue doesn't mean you can't do it at another level. And what's happened is we've allowed that to be an excuse to not engage in that. And just as the funny story to this, I was sitting with a bunch of people on one of our teams where we were mapping out our ability to do some of this stuff state by state across the country, where you're going to see in the next few months some very assertive ideas popping out on the very things you hear me talking about in multiple areas of the country that we're really, really excited about, because this moment gives us the opportunity to talk about it simply because we can't depend on these other institutions to bail us, right? What we're going to have to do is agitate where the support is and say it's your time to now step up and pass this sort of policy so that these workers are protected more locally, or maybe either statewide or regionally. My point for bringing it up is, ironically, while I'm having this conversation, I actually got a text message from a local leader at the same time I'm in the room with all these attorneys and all these strategists. And I get this text message that says, hey, Randy, when are we going to get together to talk about how we help more workers organize in my area, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I took my phone and I held it up and I was like, this right here, this energy in the universe tells us we're in the right space right now. Like, this just happened where we're talking about this with this long-term strategy, and boom, it lands right on my lap. It lands right on my lap where an elected official in the area is like, Randy, what can I do? When are we going to get together to make this happen? And so my point is I believe it's there. We just have to all believe, figure out those right strategies, and make it happen. And especially making sure we get people to understand. Let's not be whipped around by, let's say, the federal government's kind of the ball that's bouncing back and forth when we can take care of something more local. Anything you want to close on, Chris?
What's that?
Anything you want to close on? A message?
Oh, yes, definitely. We have to keep working on building community. I think that if we, and it's just like you said right there, you were in the right space, like the energy in that space. If we're creating this conversation with the right people, it only makes sense. Unions have been so successful is because it's just common sense, practicality. We're looking at helping people live better lives, and I think right or left, you're going to agree with that. Deep down, if you're an everyday working class person, whether you vote Republican or you vote Democrat or Independent or any other party, you look at the practicality of what we're trying to fight for, and it's something that is human and universal. And as long as we stay focused on what it is we're fighting for and not getting too drugged in, and that's why I love local politics, because it's nonpartisan. And this is a perfect space to have the conversation at the local level. Once you start going above any place where I'm at, and exiting out of the county, and you just start getting into being pulled one way or the other. But definitely for me here, I see everyday working people struggling, working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. That's the culture I want to change. So I want to change that the community in that respect and bring better paying jobs to the area, creating those workforce agreements, and raising the standard of living, the bar, and
so in that light,
way,
in that light, is there any current bills or is there any policy currently pending now that you want to quickly talk about before you jump off here that will support your vision of the high desert? I mean, is there something that's going on, at the Board of Supervisors, or something at the city, or something at the state? Obviously we got to keep it brief, but is there something in particular, some policy that supports that vision, or are you trying to build that out right now?
Well, I'm definitely trying to build that out right now, and I am working with electeds like fellow Teamsters, past Teamsters, Juan Carrillo, and working at the state level, trying to make sure that we're getting legislation, keeping my finger on the pulse of legislation that's coming down the pipeline that's going to affect us, working with those warehouse bills, that not necessarily popular with the builders, but popular with making sure, that we're getting our union folks to build these buildings, and that we're, hopefully going to be staffing our buildings. And that's something that was recently done prior to my time. Some warehouses that came into the city, and now at this point, what can we do as they're building and staffing? Post the decisions.
Yeah, what are the
made.
jobs? There's one thing to make sure that the jobs are good while they're building the operation, but what are the jobs going to look like after the operation? Cities have the ability to make that happen. They have the ability to. It's not just the project labor agreement; it's the community benefit agreement that makes sure that there's a long-term, sustainable future for all the jobs on that property.
Absolutely.
Everybody runs for the woods in the business community.
The benefit to our community is should be number one priority.
That is correct.
And I feel like sometimes that gets lost in the fine print, and I want to make that the focus.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Council Member Ochoa.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you coming on, and really appreciate your effort to support labor. We'll get you on again in the future, especially let me know when you got something.
If you need me to walk a line, let me know. I'll be there. I was proud to walk with the Amazon workers in Victorville.
Awesome. No, we heard. That's awesome that you did that. I know our Amazon workers are extremely proud of the fact that you came out and did that. And when you want to prop up that policy at the city of Hesperia, or something that's broader that actually goes over multiple cities, and we do that at the Board of Supervisors or whatever layer we have to do that. Let's get together, collaborate, figure out what it is, and let's create that drive, that message, that narrative, and do what we got to do to get that policy placed in so that 10, 15 years from now, we can look back and say, we moved the dial on that for these working people. Once again,
absolutely.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to go to a quick break here. This is Randy Corrigan, the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. We are airing live from San Bernardino. Mark, take it away. This is Randy Corrigan back with the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, live from San Bernardino. Boy, that was a fun little segment with, I just rolled the dice, pulled Cato in here with the nurses from Oregon, and then rolled it over with the council member from Hesperia. And now we're joined by Teamsters 1932 member Kim Shapiro. I said that correctly, right?
Yes.
And she is a supervising crime scene specialist. She's been there. She'll be there 24 years coming up here pretty soon. 23 years coming up here pretty soon. Wow, boy, you have probably seen a lot in your time. You want to introduce yourself and talk anything about what everybody wants to hear from you first? Thanks for the work that you do, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. I've been a crime scene specialist with the county for almost 23 years now, and it's definitely a county that's busy. We see a lot of things in the crime scene world in our county. It's a very large county, as you know, so we go to a lot of different places and see a lot of things. some crime scenes are kind of standard, your general drive-by shootings, and there's not a whole lot there. And then we have some very, very creative crooks in our county that come up with some very interesting ways to kill people.
And then that's what makes for an even more elaborate crime scene, or more detailed, or more difficult, or bigger, or broader, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that. Like, what are the differences in, what the team has to do in managing that? Because, obviously most listeners only think of that from a lens of what they see on TV through CSI, right? And so they probably connect the dots to maybe these actors. The reality is these are real people doing real jobs every single day, and the difficulty of that job is the reason why we have the show, so that people will, kind of get an idea of what you have to do every day.
Yes, if you think it's like TV, it's not. TV, they do a crime scene in an hour, and the same person that works the crime scene is also the person who runs around and arrests people and chases them down and all of that. And they have to do that because actors make a whole lot more money than we do. So we have a lot of people doing a lot of different jobs. They roll that all up into one in an actor and roll it up into an hour-long show. Our main, a regular homicide scene probably is about 8 hours long for us to process it, and can be as long as 3 days. We've had crime scenes that are basically 3 days. We work about 20 hours, and then we'll shut down for 6 to 8, and then we'll work again another 20 hours to get everything processed. So we don't have the luxury of, it's 8 hours into my shift, time to go home.
Right, I'm punching out now.
Yeah, no, we've got to work it till it's done. And so you have to be willing to work long hours to do this job. You have to be able to do your job with little sleep, because there's not always a lot of time to sleep going on. And it is what it is. Crime scenes do take a long time, so we get sometimes stuck out for long periods of time. So we have to be prepared to be in the heat or the snow.
Especially in San Bernardino County, being as large and vast as it is, you can get both in the same day. You can get snow and heat in the same day.
You can be in the summertime, even springtime. You could be up in the desert, and it could be 80, 90 degrees in the daytime, and then you can get called out to the mountains at night, and it could snow on you. So you got to be prepared with a hat and a sunscreen for the sunshine, and then you need your snow boots and gloves and earmuffs and everything else to be up in the mountains as soon as the weather turns cold. So you get everything.
And then one of the jobs that you have to do is you actually have to testify in court, right?
Yes, we testify in court.
How many times do you think you've testified in court?
Surprisingly, you don't testify as often as people think. Most of the time, people, if you commit murder, this is my theory, totally my own theory, is...
Well, you got a pretty good experience to have a good theory here.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're guilty of murder, you don't want to go to prison. You want to stay in our jail system as long as you can, because the difference between jail and prison is vast. I've been to both, only for work, though.
Right.
I was talking with my dad the other day, and we were talking about ever going to jail, and I'm like, well, I've been to jail a few times, but I've only been to prison once. And we were at a restaurant, and these people at the table next to us are turning their heads to look like,
what did she do?
What are these people that are talking about being in jail a lot of times and being in prison?
This is a funny story.
And I'm like, just for work, only for work, never there for, not as a guest, as there with a job to do. But there's a vast difference between jail and prison. So if you've committed murder, you're going to be in prison for a long time. Stay as much of that in jail first before you go to court and get convicted and have to go to prison. So a lot of cases don't go to court for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I just got a thing this morning in my email about a 2017 case is going to be going to court. Last December, I went to a sentencing. Usually I don't go to sentencing. I don't even know when the trials are over. I testify and I'm on to other things. But I had one case that was probably the worst case I've ever been to in my life as far as what happened inside of this household. There was torture and things going on in the household. So I won't tell anybody the specifics of that case unless they had to work it, because it's just things people don't
It's too bad. Right.
need to know.
It's terrible.
But when the person was going to be sentenced, I wanted to be in court for that. So I went to that. 13 years later is when he was sentenced.
Oh, boy.
And that was somebody pleading guilty, and it still took 13 years to sentence them. So it's It's not what you think. The justice system does not go as fast as people think it does. I probably don't testify on even 10% of my cases. A lot of them either people plead out or they testify and the detectives testify to what I did, but so we're not always in court, but we sometimes do have to go to court, sometimes have to be there for days at a time. And we get to go to court all over the county since we work all over the county. So you could have to go to court up in Morongo.
Right. Or over in Rancho, right.
Yeah.
So
Rancho's an easier drive.
So obviously what y'all do entails a lot of training, like a ton of training.
Ton
I'm
of training.
assuming. And so you've got to have different, I'm assuming you got different layers of it, certifications, all that good stuff, you know, so that you don't obviously mishandle any of the evidence or the scene.
Yes.
Because those are catastrophic boo-boos to the prosecution.
Absolutely. So our training process, when you come in new to us, even if you have experience, it takes about a year, maybe 15 months or so to get you to be able to work just a regular, what we call a regular homicide scene. Our unit here in San Bernardino County, we respond to homicides, lethal force encounters, in-custody deaths, death investigation. We don't do burglaries, robberies, run-of-the-mill felonies. We only do the more serious crimes. So our training takes about a year, little over a year to get through, and then we have another up to 3 years to train you and get you through all of the reconstruction stuff that we do. So bloodstain pattern analysis and gunshot trajectory reconstruction, that takes up to another 3 years to get done. So there's a lot of training that goes on. We have some steps along the way, so we do get people productive at different things along the way, but to get fully qualified to do all of the things we do in our county takes about 4 years.
And that costs a lot of money to do all that training.
Yes.
Yeah. And so do you handle the funding mechanism of that too? Or I mean, do you participate in it to where you see how that funding comes in or where it's the funding sources?
No, I'm not part of that.
No, do you help allocate, we need X amount of dollars to train our staff over a certain period of time as part of like a budget analysis or any of that?
Well, our county has always been what I call a poor county because we have a large percentage of people in our county that receive some type of government assistance. So
yeah, the tax base in San Bernardino, the tax revenue generated in San Bernardino County is lower than all the rest of them.
Yes.
Yep.
So because of that, funding is always an issue. So the way that our laboratory gets funding for our training is through a grant. The department doesn't give us much money for training. So we've always sought after grants and we use the grant money. It can be used for training or for equipment. It's traditionally been used primarily for training to get people to go to the training that we need to go to.
Yeah, so you have to be obviously creative as to making sure that those resources are there. All right. Anything you'd like to talk about your job so that the listeners get to hear the intricacies or the importance of it? I mean, clearly there's this high level of importance because you're a critical part of making sure that a community is safe, right? Like, obviously, you're dealing with it in an unsafe situation. However, being able to go through the process of making sure that the evidence is collected, the information is handled correctly, and those criminals are put behind bars is largely up to you and your team to make sure that that happens.
Yes.
It's not just the police officers driving around in the vehicle. And I know they typically get the limelight a lot, and they have the badge and the gun, and everybody wants to take a picture with them. The purpose of our show and what we do is making sure that a lot of times most of the work that's being done in a particular situation is actually being done by people like yourself and your team. Is that correct?
Yes, and we work really closely with our homicide team because that's who we're with out in the field, and they are our protectors in the field. Mm-hmm. If you watch CSI, like CSI Las Vegas, they run around with guns. We don't carry guns. Some agencies and Las Vegas Metro, they allow their people to choose whether they carry a gun or not. So some do, some don't. Our sheriff has said, no, you will not carry guns, which is fine with me because if I have a gun on my hip and they expect me, well, you're armed, you have a gun, you can protect yourself, you're working this crime scene, peace out, we're gone. I can't do my job. I can't look for evidence. I can't look at little tiny blood stains. Yeah, I can't look for blood stains and then be looking over my shoulder. So our safety is really important. It's also really important because we don't have a lot of positions. We have 13 crime scene specialists to cover the entire county.
Yes. Say that again.
13 crime scene specialists to cover the entire county. Of that, 2 of those are leads. So really I have 11 strictly field positions to cover the entire county 24/7, 365. So we have over 2,000 sworn deputies, gun toter positions, but we only have 11 crime scene specialists. If we count all of them, including myself, there's 14 if we count everybody in the unit, but 13 below me that go out primarily and work the crime scenes. So it's not very many to cover a large area, and that's why we have to be selective in what we respond to. We have a lot of training, we have a lot of expertise. We could lend that expertise to other types of crimes, shootings, assaults with deadly weapons, rapes, those kinds of scenes that we don't get to go to because we don't have the staffing to do that. And it's kind of a shame when someone calls up and says, hey, we had a shooting, 3 people are shot, we need you guys to come out. And we can't roll because we need to be available for when somebody's actually dead. So if they're circling the drain, let me know when the plug gets pulled and they're dead, and then we'll respond. But our staffing is limited, so we have to limit our response, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's an eye opener when you hear this. Like it's a really, a lot of times as public employees, you get villainized as, draining the tax dollars. And the reality is all this stuff's got to be paid for somehow. Right. There's got to be people that do the job to manage these situations. And, a lot of times these elected officials will say these things, oh, we got to cut this and we got to do this and we got to do that. Yeah, well, what's going to lose as a result of it? Especially if you already have a situation that's strained for resources to begin with, like you're pointing out right now. It's always interesting that I always hear people say, oh, the government wastes money or the county wastes money or whatever it is. Well, the optics of what is somebody considering as waste is very different depending on the perspective of the need, right?
Right.
So from your perspective, you would obviously say that nothing in what you do is wasteful, right? So there may be some issues where there waste happens or there's mistakes happens or something should have been bought or this, that. But by and large, everybody's trying to be as resourceful as possible around you to do your job. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. And in the past, and not to take this the wrong way, but we would say we do ghetto forensics, because up until we moved into our new laboratory about 6 years ago, we were still using a super glue tank, which was a fish tank.
Oh boy.
We had a fish tank, and the lid on the fish tank was cardboard. We custom made a cardboard lid to go over top of it to keep the super glue in the chamber for us to do our super glue processing or cyanoacrylate ester processing. So you can do it in a fish tank. It works just fine, but now we actually have a real laboratory grade chamber that makes it much easier to do our job. So we're probably a little bit more efficient because we have the proper tool to do the job. But
spending a little money to become more efficient is sometimes very good for the long-term goal.
Yes.
Yes.
Short-term, a little painful, but long-term, it's going to make more sense. We're trying to do that now in the laboratory with getting a laboratory information management system, because we're still antiquated and doing a lot of things on paper, especially in CSI, because we're out in the field, we're writing on paper, and then we have to come back and type it into four or five different computer systems to get all of the things together for our report. Instead of, we have tablets, but we don't have software to get the information from the tablet into the lab system that we have now. We're in the process of looking to get an actual robust system that will do all the things that we need, but that takes time and money's kind of been allocated. Now it's just getting the time and the county process that takes forever to get things purchased, to get that done, but that will help. But it's going to be a big financial burden to begin with.
Yeah, and I would say training falls in this category too. A lot of times there's an argument over spending the money on training. Obviously, if you spend the extra money on training and you get someone trained and get them up to speed, you're going to be more productive in the long run. And then there's getting the appropriate training so that you actually get the appropriate certification, because I'm assuming in this role you have to have the right certification for anything that you handle to be legally valid. Otherwise, if you don't have it, you can't do something. And if you do that, then there's a legal challenge to whether or not you should even be doing it.
Well, There isn't actually a certification that's required. The state doesn't require a certification from us at this point in time. We do get, some of our people are certified and they do that voluntarily, but that's also a pay bump. So we encourage our people to do that. And, you know, it's beneficial to spend a few bucks to get that so that you get this bump in pay. But most of our training is done in-house. And a lot of that is because we are constantly in a flux of turnover. And it's not, we can recruit people, we get them in the door, it's getting them to stay, which is the difficult part. And for the most part, we burn people out after about 4 years. After about 4 years, they're tired of being on call all the time because you're half your life, you have to be on call. You have that phone with you, and if it rings, you got to go. So imagine half of your weekends or more, you don't get to plan to go out of town. You don't get to plan, well, I'll be at your birthday party unless I get a call out. I'll be at the baby shower unless I get a call out. 50% of your life is dedicated to this job. So it is a job that requires a big dedication of your personal time.
Well, we appreciate that public service. Hopefully others around you within your employment appreciate it as well. It doesn't seem like they always do, but we do, and we try to do everything we can. That's why you see the Think a Teamster signs all over. We have the billboards. We do the radio show. We really believe it's important for the general public to hear these conversations and to connect in a real way versus potentially seeing something on a ballot. Like we went through this with the fire department over and over again, where there was these measures to cut spending in the fire space, which would have cut fire services. And we're like, hey, wait a minute here. Especially with what we've seen in the last, let's say, 5-10 years, fires have done, particularly in this area. Clearly, Southern California has been ravaged by some of it here recently. The point is sometimes the nature of politics turns into something that negatively affects what's really happening and what's needed in a community, and it's not as simple as saying yes or no on a ballot. And that, well, then a yes means to repeal something that now we don't have these services in a particular area. Again, the reason for bringing all this up is to just make sure people pay more attention of the needs of services in a particular area, because one of the things that we do is we're always advocating for, let's say, equities or an increase or, stopping the people leaving, right? Like let's, our retiree medical subsidy that we built out and the affordable health care, half of the pitch to the county was creating retention so that you don't have people leaving. And so we are seeing benefits of that, obviously not as high as it would like it to be, but as time goes on, the more and more people are ingrained with their employer to stay the entire time until they retire. Quite frankly, you're going to get more out of them, especially if you catch them when they're 18 and you keep them until the day they retire. Like, that is going to be one productive employee their entire work career.
It's getting them to stay because they see short term, I can get $5 more or $10 more an hour somewhere else. Peace out, I'm going. Yeah. So we've
seen a lot of them do that, and then they come back too. Ironically, I've been doing this long enough in my career where people chase the money at a certain age range, and then they start to they get to my age, and they're like at 50 and go, well, what am I going to do when I pull the plug, right?
Right.
Oops. Well, I chased the dollar a little too much here. What's my retirement vehicles look like? Hey, can I come back? Well, sure, but you got a gap. So anyway, anything you want to? We just got a few minutes here. Anything you want to talk about that we didn't cover? And a funny story, and I get it. You probably got some crazy stories that you think are funny that others won't. You'd be surprised. People, every time I hear this from somebody on the show, people think the stories are pretty funny.
Just one without giving too many specifics. We had someone who murdered someone, and they had an Apple Watch on. And so their Apple Watch, when they fell down, they're dead. Their Apple Watch notified 911. So the fire department pulled up. Hey, we're here. And the person said, oh, there's no problem here. And a deputy pulls up. Fire department says there's no problem. Well, the deputy walks by and sees part of an appendage visible through the garage door and put the guy in custody and searched the house. And he had killed his family member inside the house. So had there not been an Apple Watch.
Right, the Apple Watch connected the dots.
Yes, the Apple
on
Watch.
the fly.
The Apple Watch called 911. So without that, he would have had plenty of time to try and clean that up, get rid of evidence, get rid of the body, do whatever. But
I don't know why
the Apple Watch dimed him off.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody commits crimes like this right now, because with the camera, Apple Watch, this, that, like at every corner, you've got like 15 electronic devices that have got you somehow leashed to you. So, hey, everybody, get smart. Like, don't stop, right? Like, just don't do this.
Yeah, your car tracks you, your phone tracks you.
Everything
Your
tracks
watch
you.
tracks you. Yeah, everything. So
And when you think you're not tracked and you got rid of everything,
There's cameras
enough-
everywhere.
There's enough stuff to piece it together where you started over here. Guess what? We're going to find that camera and this camera and that camera and this camera. You know, you'd have to have some frequency bubble to blow everything out as you're going away so no one sees you. So really appreciate you coming on the show. Really, the work that you've done, Kim, as a supervising crime scene specialist for the last 20 plus years is much appreciated by Teamsters 1932 and your coworkers. Everybody speaks very highly of you. And we really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your stories. And I actually do think that's a funny story.
thanks for having me.
No problem. This is, how much time do I got there, Eric? I got 2 minutes. Oh, geez, I got to short. This is Randy Corgan. This is the Worker Power Hour. What we're out is we're building worker power. We're encouraging people to build worker power. And how do you build worker power? You talk to your neighbors. You talk to your friends. You explain how coming together, you have the ability to collectively bargain, and you have the ability to organize, and you have the ability to build your own union and bring those issues to the forefront so that you and your coworkers can have a better work environment and then try to improve those conditions. Sometimes the employer is always not the best judge of that character or that situation. And this is Randy Corgan with the Worker Power Hour. I am a long-time organizer, first-time radio host. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Eric, take it away. We'll see you guys next week.
Brothers, you know so well. It started way back in history with that Rob and me.
My team.
Been had a little horsey named Paul Revere. Just me and my horsey and a quart of beer. Riding across the land, kicking up sand. Sheriff spices on my tail, cause I'm in demand. One lonely BCIB. All by myself without nobody. The sun is beating down on my baseball hat. The air is getting hot, the beer is getting flat. Looking for a girl, I ran into a guy. His name is MCA. I said howdy, he said hi.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by